Brought to you by Lister Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV, and Nate is making me laugh. All right, we got Nate Brill in studio today in Tempe, Arizona. Thank you so much for making the drive from northern.
I had to almost make a flight.
North Valley. You almost flew here to the studio.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
What brokerage are you at these days?
Realty One Group.
Realty One Group.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. I've been there now. October of 16 is when I went over there.
So you've been there for a while. So
Yep.
For those watching that don't know who you are, we'll give you a moment to introduce yourself.
I'm Nate Brill with Realty One, and I run the Brill team. And I don't know what else to say about myself other than that. I'm not. I'm not that well. I'm not that.
How long you been in real estate?
There we go.
How long you been in real estate?
March of 2014 is when I got licensed.
All right.
Yeah.
See, when I first I first became familiar with you because I was pretty active on social.
With me.
But no, before you became a Lister Pros customer, because you're working with Joshua Smith, and I see you guys do the videos. This is before video was cool, right? You guys were doing videos back then, and
very uncomfortable.
I thought it was cool that it was like out of the box at that point in time when you're doing the videos back then.
I've probably done maybe 10 videos on my life, and every one of them is so incredible.
I left those videos in 2014 or 15.
Every time I've had to shoot one, I end up I end up repeating and repeating and repeating and doing it over and over and over again because it's so uncomfortable for me. I've actually come to the conclusion that I'm just gonna stop trying. It's not me, man. I've got actually on my Lister Pros built website. I've got 2 websites that you guys built for me that have videos, and that's it. It's like no more videos after that.
That's the extent of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless you're playing the piano or
unless
doing
I'm playing
other
the
things.
piano, and then in that case, it makes my wife really uncomfortable. But if you ever look at any of my videos, I'm not in them. Like it's just aimed right at my hands because I don't want to be. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's super. Yeah, I don't know.
See, I was kind of like that, and then I just kind of got over
how
I look, how I sound.
I don't care how I look or how I sound. It's just the this is supernatural. This is just like you and I talking. If I have to know what the hell I'm going to say, or I have to say a specific thing,
right,
it's all out the window.
I know that, and that's how that's actually important because, that's how I used to be. I used to be not scripted, but I used to have to write notes. So when I got away from that is when the show actually started to flow much better. We just it's just like having a conversation instead of using like a crutch.
Completely. And actually, the piano is like a perfect metaphor because maybe it's an analogy. I don't know, but I play the same way that I do any of this. Like I don't know how to read music, and I don't know how to play the same thing twice. So everything I do, whether it's playing piano or even like in my real estate business, I don't have a listing presentation. Nothing that I do is ever the same. Because it's much more natural. And
so you just show up Mr. Elton John, you sit down at their piano, play their piano, and be like,
except Elton John can play his stuff the same way twice. I can't even do that. Yeah. So no, I have no structure to anything that I actually. I mean, I have structure to everything I do, but I don't have any structure to like the way that I like present anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what's new with you and your business? So you've been in the business for 5 years now?
Yeah, just past 5 years in March. Yep.
Nice, congratulations. That's a milestone that many agents don't make it to. I think a lot of agents don't make it past.
A lot of agents
6
don't.
months.
I know it. Yeah, no. And when I got into the business, I knew like this was not going to be one of those things where I get a license and just kind of have it. Like that's what I knew everybody else had. So I got into it as a business, and consequently, it's business. So it operates like a business. We do everything as a business. So crossing over the 5 years for me, like I hate with a passion the feeling of being a guy that's new. So when the day one that I got my license, when somebody would ask me how long I'd been in, I was in my first year. because I hated that feeling of like
not day one. This is
right.
I'm in my first year,
right.
guys.
Well, I wasn't. It wasn't.
I'm in my first decade of real estate.
Right. It wasn't untrue. It just was that It's like even when I get a new car, like I cannot wait for the actual license plate so I don't look like the tool bag with the new car. Like I hate it. So crossing over the 5-year threshold was like, now I don't feel as when somebody asks me how long I've been in, it's like 5 years isn't a long time. Not at all, but it's also not like I just got licensed last week sort of thing.
Right.
So, no, it's good. But, no, things are really, really good. I've gone through several iterations of like what I would structure a team as, like, the buyer's agent model, multiple buyer's agents, and none of that stuff worked for me because everything that I do is so organic. The way that I get my business is very organic. And so anytime that a buyer's agent steps in to work with one of our clients, it's like they feel like they're almost being passed off. It's not like we had 75 million Zillow leads come in and this goes to this buyer agent and this one goes to that buyer's agent. Like we're talking about somebody that I met at an open house that I nurtured the lead on for a year or 2 years, and I just had one. We closed almost to the day, 5 years, which I met him the day that I got licensed. And I closed him the same day. So these are people that I've met and nurtured all this time, and then it's like then I pass it off to somebody. So it just never worked.
Right.
It always felt uncomfortable to the client, felt uncomfortable to me. So now with the way that we're set up, like my assistant is licensed, and so she can help, and she's able to show houses and all of that. But now, like, we're a team of 4, but I'm the only agent. And I'm able to do not only a lot of good volume, but I'm able to do it in the way that is true to like the way that I do business. So it's like super high level service because it's 3 admin for 1 agent. So it's like top level, taking care of them. Everything is handled, and then I only do the stuff that I want to do. It's the best kind of business.
And you mentioned organic, a lot of organic. So I guess talk to us a little bit about what your business looks like now. Is it heavy on referrals? Is it a lot of lead? Like what is?
I don't spend money on the only thing that I do that is any sort of cold source traffic, which even this could be arguable the way that I do it. So the only thing I spend money on for cold traffic is farming. Everything else is past clients, referral, sphere of influence. Getting going, everything I did was open houses. So 30 to 40 to 50% of everything for the first 3-4 years was all from open houses. And I would, like I said, I would nurture those for years along, and then they would turn into a client. Or in some cases, like I still have people that have even referred me business that I've never done a single transaction with that I met at an open house. Because I treat every person that I meet that comes kind of like into my orbit, as long as I like them, as like they're a client. Like I've got people that they get the exact same treatment that any one of my clients would, but they've never done business with me. But they refer business to me. I know for sure, without a doubt, that if they were to do something, I'd be the one that they go with. They've even invited me out, like birthday parties, like things that are like you somehow get welcomed into that side of their life without ever having done anything. And I met them at an open house. So now we're like this year, we're probably 85% past client sphere of influence.
Really?
Sphere of influence and referral. Yeah, which is what I wanted. Because open houses are very, very time intensive, and I love them. And I teach classes on them. That is to me the number one in terms. If you're going to try and build a business, that's at least for me that was the way to do it. But I don't have that kind of time anymore, and I don't because everything is so heavily geared towards taking care of the people that are already in our orbit. It's just now it's generating on itself, and it's nice to actually have a life, so I don't have to do open houses, every weekend day.
Right.
Yeah.
And put out 1,500 signs per open.
Pretty much.
You guys were back in the day when mega open houses were just barely around, and then cities started to come in and say no.
Yeah, we had to fight. We had to fight with the cities just to keep they were trying to take us down from at one point. I mean, we were putting out 50 signs, and they wanted us to do 4. Like 4 doesn't even get you to the house, man.
Right.
Like at all. Like I'll do 4 at the house. Yeah. But at the same time, like I understand where the cities were coming from. I was never one of these guys. I was definitely doing a lot of signs, but they were like spread way out. And there were some people that were putting like 15 signs on a corner.
Oh.
Like no wonder everybody hated you. Like
Right.
Like of course, because you're littering the city with your signs. So, yeah, I mean, all of that stuff, I remember when that was going on thinking like, okay, this is half of my business. And if this plug gets pulled and I can't even do the open houses, I'm screwed. So, that was already kind of what was happening in the back of my mind. So shifting away from doing that as like my main source and just making sure that I nurtured it. I knew it was just a matter of time, because you don't get past clients your first year. You might get a couple if they're crazy and they sell their house right away. But
Right.
you got to get like time so that it can circulate. And but now it's working. It's good.
So what's the trick to nurturing? I think that's one issue that maybe agents struggle with is just, all right, you have past clients. How do you stay in contact with them without being the just listed, just sold, or whatever?
I can't stand that crap.
Whatever.
Yeah.
What's the?
I guess I have to turn it around and just say, like, anybody that you care about, how do you stay in touch with them? You don't stay in touch with them with like a drip system. Like, got your drip system. This is like for mom and dad. And I got my drip system for these are my best friends. Like, I don't have them on a drip system. And if I actually genuinely care about the people that are in my system, I'm not going to treat them like that. Like, if I meet somebody at an open house and then I put them into a drip, like, shame on me. That's not how you treat people, because they know right away.
You think people are seeing through the drip? They're like, oh.
I think they know immediately that they're on a drip. And then they're like, oh, bummer, I thought I liked that guy. Like, I thought he was going to be different. And so for me, if I put somebody into a system like that, it's a betrayal not only of whatever rapport I had built at the immediate time of meeting them, but also of who I am. Like I said, I'm not a video guy. I'm not a drip guy. So I have a CRM. It's a very basic. I use Top Producer, but I don't use it with all of like the functionality that it offers. I use it so that I can have a place to put my notes, so that I can remember what I talked to them about the last time. Not so I can like very conveniently remember like, Molly turned 6 last time, so I'm going to bring that up. Like, it's so that I know what I was doing, and then I can task myself to follow up with them. But it's like, I don't want to forget to follow up with them. I have systems to help me with that, but I don't treat my people that are part of my database like a system. And speaking of my database, it's small, man. Like, I have a newsletter, like an actual physical newsletter that goes out every month.
Really?
And it's we put a lot of energy into it, but it goes out to like 220 people. That's it. But my business is 80 to 85% referrals and past clients. So I'm putting my energy into the people where it matters, where it counts, instead of putting my energy into a whole huge, massive database of people that just happen to make their way into my system. Like, I wouldn't want to be in that system. I don't want to be on somebody's spam folder. Like, Seth Godin, to me, is the number one, like, this guy understands marketing because he understands the human element of marketing. And he talks about permission marketing. And permission marketing is not only, yes, you have permission to market to me, but, like, I want to hear what you have to say. Like, this is the person on the other end who wants to receive my message or whatever it is that I have to say to them, because they like me and I like them, and we've got what I would define as, even if it's a loose term relationship, they know who I am. And if I call them, it's not like I'm some spammer calling them. And so I would rather focus all of my energy onto a very small group of people instead of a massive group of people. I mean, even at 200 and whatever it is, 220, that sometimes can almost feel large because of the amount of energy that we want to put into people. So, but, that's what makes people truly know that you care, not just like think that you care, but, I'm nobody is exclusive, but I have a pretty tight-knit group of people that I would focus my energy on. So that way it's not diluted.
Right. So for brand new agents getting into the business, obviously they're not going to have necessarily that. So if you had to start over again from square one without a sphere of influence or past clients, or maybe you didn't grow up in this area, so you're like, don't know a bunch of people in the community, how would you go about building your business in
So it's funny you asked that, because I did grow up in this area and I had zero sphere of influence. And because I told you
nobody liked you, Nate.
That's basically it. Well,
you ran everybody out.
What it comes down to is that I hate being the new guy. And I hated the idea that anybody that was in my network would think of me. Like I remember when I quit my job before I got into real estate, and I was like, I'm getting into real estate, and I didn't want to tell them that because I was waiting for that thought, like, oh, cool, we'll see you when you fail and come back. So I just didn't want to tell anybody, and so I never call. And I'm not that kind of guy, anyways. I wouldn't do it today, even with experience. I wouldn't call my group, my network, and be like, hey, looking for somebody who wants to buy or sell or whatever. Like, it's not me. And so my entire database of people, that whole 220, while I have people in there that are in my sphere, that have been in my sphere for years, the vast majority of them came organically from, call it, ground zero to where I am now. So all the people that I met at open houses, all my past clients, people that, like, I've got some clients where I've been out on showings with them multiple times with family members, and I've gotten to know their family members, and they seem like decent people. It's not about whether or not somebody's going to refer me. It's about, like, do I like them? And if I like them enough, and granted, if they're like, somebody who is a realtor or has a realtor, I'm not going to encroach on that. But if they're just a person that, I get along with, and it feels like including them on my, my network list or whatever, it works. Mm-hmm. That's what I do.
So you, I know last time we went out, you were in Surprise, but now you moved to Peoria. So do you cover, what area of the valley do you cover?
I cover, about 40% of my business is Surprise. And I like Surprise because it moves. It's a lower price point, but it moves, it churns. And so I don't have to hold on to listings for, 90 or 120 days on the market. I mean, I have to sell more of them to equal the same kind of numbers.
Right.
But that's all good too, because the more transactions, the more opportunities for referrals and taking care of people. And it's just like, I would rather focus on that than price point. But I had gone down the whole price point rabbit hole. And I had actually moved. I went so far that I moved my entire office, all my website, all of everything said I was based out of Scottsdale, because I wanted Scottsdale prices.
Oh.
And that was all well and good, because to me, I'm such a data junkie that all that I have to do is immerse myself in the numbers, and I know what I'm looking at market-wise. So I could sell in Scottsdale, and I did sell in Scottsdale, and I still do sell in Scottsdale. But it's not my focus, because I know Surprise and I know the West Valley. It's where I'm from, the West Valley, so I know it. And so I can speak it and I can live it, as opposed, I sell out here too. I think this year alone we've sold probably 5 in Mesa.
Really?
Yeah, and that's all good, and I know the market, but it's not like home to me the way the West Valley is. So,
sure.
Yeah.
So in Peoria now, but cover basically the entire valley?
I cover the whole valley with a focus on Surprise. Okay. And I would say a focus on, I would say basically the whole north half of the valley, including up to Scottsdale. Because Scottsdale is only that's part of the reason why we moved to Peoria, is because it kind of puts us equidistant between Surprise and North Phoenix, North Scottsdale area. It's only 20 minutes either direction, so it works.
So what are you seeing out there trend-wise in real estate 2019?
In Surprise or just in general?
Well, just in general. It could be Surprise specific if you have specific stuff, but overall market, I think at the beginning of the year there was some, is the market going to level off or dip this year, or what?
I think there's a lot of people who, I can tell you that since, I swear it's the day I got licensed, I had all these other, brokers and people who were I've been in real estate for 20 years and we're going to see the correction's coming. It's going to come.
It's been coming for 5 years?
Right, exactly. Right. Every year, interest rates are going to break 5 and it's all going to crash, literally since 2014, which is not a long period of time, but it's a long period of time when every single year somebody tells you that the sky is falling. So going into this year, I knew that interest rates were rising, and I knew that would possibly cause, and it was causing, if you look at all the Cromford stats, it was slowing, but it wasn't anything to freak out about. And so we actually are having this is the busiest first quarter we've ever had. We are already at more than half of last year's entire production 3 months in or 4 months in, whatever it is. And because I don't let stuff like that scare me. It's not going to stop me. I need to be aware of it, and I need to be able to instruct my clients. But if we go into a changing market, that might not be an opportunity for one half of the market, sellers, but it might become more of an opportunity for the buyers. And so it's you just have to know that you're going to have to shift. And it's I've not lived through that market. I've lived vicariously through others because I watch all these types of things and I listen to podcasts with agents all over the country. So I know that those types of markets are different and they're trying and they're all of those things. But I'm almost finding myself like, bring it on. Like, I'm ready for it. Whenever it comes, I'm ready for it. So we'll see.
So just, I mean, for whatever happens, you obviously just adjust.
Have to.
You know?
Yeah, have to. And I've always
It's just been a long period of time where not much adjustments have needed to be made, you know?
Right. But I mean, there is some adjustment. I mean, we have more realtors than we've ever had.
That is true.
Right. And I swear every transaction I've had for the last several weeks, every one of them has been, this is my first transaction, or we find out, I just was talking to a guy the other day and he was telling me that, he had his craziest day in his career. It's like he's never done a single transaction. So obviously it was. And I don't judge that, but it's just that's what we're looking at. So we do. I mean, there's less available transactions per realtor, and so that's an adjustment. But again, it's it doesn't scare me. You've got Open Door and OfferPad and Zillow, and people get scared by that stuff too. It's they're there. What are we gonna do? Cry about it? Just right now they still make up 5-6% of the market.
Sure, yeah.
That leaves 95% of the market available to us. So. I'm good. I'm fine with all of it.
Nice. So is this, the market doesn't feel any different to me in 2019 as it did last year.
So I read Cromford religiously every single morning. It's part of my routine. Mm-hmm. And so I always read his daily observations because it just kind of keeps me on point. So I know all of the forecasting measures. So going into 2019, things were definitely looking slow, and they were slow based off of the actual numbers. And then just I think it was a week ago, we officially now have more listings under contract than we did even in 2018. And we had more listings under contract in 2018 than we did in 2017. So the fact that we started off the year slow and we have ramped up so much that we have more listings under contract than we did even last year, it's a damn good market. So, I'm just I'm having fun, man. It's good stuff.
So what is your favorite thing about working in real estate?
That I can make of it whatever I want to make of it. It's I was actually going to ask you before we started rolling, what made you be able to take your business from where you were to here, where I'll be in the gas station parking lot and I get some real estate photographer who gives me his card and he's doing something on the side, and then there's you. I mean, you and I started close to around the same time.
Yeah.
And you've turned it into this. It's the difference is that you treated it like the business that it was. That's why I like real estate. The license that I have allows me to sell a $10 million house or do a $500 rental. It's the same license. The difference is me and what I put into it, and that's what I love, is that there's no stopping what I want to create, what I want to build, and whatever that is. I mean, other than obviously the rules and the laws and stuff, but within those confines, I can build whatever the heck I want to build. Like I said, I've been through probably 2 or 3 different iterations of what I would, structure my team as. And if none of those worked, I just change it and do something different.
I think it's the same thing in business. A lot of the same things because we go through changes as well here. A lot of the same things, and I guess you do have a good point because there's a lot of different photographers and different people out there, but it's just it doesn't affect you at all, or it doesn't affect me at all because I know you go down your own path,
Absolutely.
And that's the same thing with your business in real estate. You just build what you want to build. On
right.
it.
Well, there's the difference between strategy and tactics. Strategy is long game. I know where I want to be 10 years from now. The tactics are the things that are going to change in between. And tactically, we do things, I would say, definitely differently than we did a few years ago, but strategically and the way, you were going to ask, how do I build my if I were to start over?
Right, yeah.
If I were to start over, I'd do it exactly the way I did because I had that mindset from day one. I mean, every single, I listened to all these interviews with people who just kind of 15 years into their career, finally figured out that their database of clients and, sphere of influence was important. And it's they look back and go, man, I wish I could go back. And, so I have to, after the fact, go into it and go, man, I'm so sorry I haven't stayed in touch with you. Whereas for me, I don't have that. I don't have any of that regret because I've intentionally stayed in touch with these people. And that's why, at year 5, we're at, 80 to 85% organic past client sphere of influence referral, because I was doing that stuff from the start. So because that was my long game.
Right.
And so tactically, I've done a bunch of different things in between. I mean, dude, when I first got started, I was calling FSBOs, I was calling expireds and canceled and doing open houses and door knocking. I mean, there was nothing I wasn't doing. And by doing all of those things, I determined what I liked and definitely what I didn't like. But the long game was once they got in, even I was doing Zillow, I spent tens of thousands of dollars with Zillow. Didn't matter what way they came in, they got treated the same once they were in. And so that's the way that I keep doing things. So, I'm just going to keep doing that.
Yeah, seems like a smart way to run your business. And it's less work, not less work, but chasing your tail out there with a bunch of and just really fostering it's a relationship-based business, what you've built.
Absolutely.
Instead of like, transaction. I'm trying to get transaction,
There's a guy, his name is Dean Jackson, and he was a real estate agent, but now he's gone on to start his own marketing firm. And he basically said, I want to create a phone that rings one way, and that is in. I don't want to make outbound phone calls. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, that is the kind of phone I want. I hate making outbound phone calls. And if you were to look at the amount of transactions we do compared to the amount of phone calls that I make, I hear all these people you got to get in your 3 hours of prospecting, which I did all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like that made the success that we have today. I don't think that was it. It was all the stuff that was not the phone calls. It was the handwritten notes, and it was, actually checking in when the time was right. It was sending flowers when somebody died. It was things that showed I'm paying attention to you and you matter to me. And that feeds on itself, and it keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back. And so, the same guy, Dean Jackson, talks about before, during, and after in a business. And each one of those things are their own separate units of the business. And the before is what feeds everything. But if you treat the during part of your business, when people are actually transacting with you, and the after portion, once they've already paid you, if you treat all of those as different marketing arms, you don't have to work so damn hard at the front end on the before, because the during and the after continues to feed and feed and feed. So that's the way I try to build it. So I don't have to work so damn hard. I work 50 hours a week at the most. But we're probably going to do 80 transactions this year, and I'm good with that. So right. I don't want to get to 200 or 300 transactions just because. I want to have a business that is good and organic and quality and not just number-based.
Right.
And have a life. Be real
That's
nice.
important as well.
Yeah.
Awesome, Nate. Well, if somebody watching this is interested in have you represent them as a buyer or seller or an agent that wants to ask you additional questions, how do people get a hold of you?
The best way, my phone rings in very well. And that would be 602-529-4092, or my email, nate@brillteam.com.
Awesome, Nate. Thanks for taking time out of your day, making the hike down to Tempe, and we will see you guys on the next episode.